I think actually right now I control my own happiness for a change. It's going not too well, but I am controlling it. He'd always have something to say, but it was also nice because it's someone who listens. Because I was like, shut up, and then he would have to shut up. You know, he didn't have another choice but to shut up. I mean, I was, I think, in shock and in disbelief.
It's the same thing with me too, in the sense that there is, we always feel that, nothing really happened.
I mean, I'm hoping to still be in theatres also. This is just how it's so happened. You enjoyed her pain.
Yeah.
To that extent, but I think as a public figure, you know, that's happening, and you know, things get misused and they get, you know, taken out of context, and you know, there are all these weird edits and fake things. So, I like that one. That one's like a...
Going by the way the first two have done, I'm like, yeah.
Hoping. Yeah. And it's tough to explain, you know, control as a concept when people are like, oh, but what's the film about? I'm like, good questions. Horrifying and heartbreaking, and I don't agree that, you know, people in position are exempt.
Yeah, I'm a geek, so there's like, I'm very nerdy when it comes to these things.
I'm just lucky that I have a job where I get to switch off for 12 hours and not have to think about anything else.
Doomsday scenario with AI is not, for me, is not Terminator type where Skynet's taken over the entire world. I think it's more about thousands and millions of people losing jobs overnight because of you're just taking AI and saying we're adapting it.
I have to reply. I don't reply to comments, so now also I'm going to not reply to these comments.
Hi, this is Sana Farzeen and welcome to India Today, and I have with me the team of Control, Ananya and Vikramaditya Motwane. I'll first read out some comments that I was reading through Ananya's Instagram post of the trailer.
Bad idea.
Some good ones.
Yeah,
Don't
never
worry.
read the comments.
Great.
The first says Ananya Panday getting stereotyped as young, rich internet kid, which she also is.
I have to reply. I don't reply to comments, so now also I'm going to not reply to these comments.
This one is funny. Bro legit took the revenge of Bae by cheating on her for Vihan.
Not planned, but okay.
This one is for Vikram. This can be one of the cyber fiction stories that should be there, because not too soon this can be a reality when online becomes more of a reality than a real life.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of true.
Yeah. Ananya, this one is for you. This year is only for Ananya Panday's year. It's time to show the haters a bada slap.
I like that one. That one's like a good one.
Only because it is Motwane, I liked it.
Okay, only because it's not.
Me also.
Lastly, there are two celebrity comments. Of course, Suhana mentioned, so excited in capital letters.
Yes.
Yes. And Mahira Khan actually posted
Yes,
up and up Ananya Panday.
Yes.
How do you feel about all of this?
Feel loved, and I can feel everyone's excitement through the comments. So I'm also curious to see how people react to the film as well.
Ananya, a lot of people are saying that at least the second half of the year is for you. Like after amazing web show with Call Me Babe, this, like how do you feel about it?
I feel great. I feel like all these things were, you know, shot last year. So, you know, it feels like, okay, finally the world is getting to see it, because I've been talking about it for so long. And it's tough to explain, you know, control as a concept when people are like, oh, but what's the film about? I'm like, good question. Just watch the film. So now that it's finally coming out and the trailers come out, I'm just really excited to, you know, put it out there to the world. Yeah.
And Vikram, it's such a relevant topic in today's time. But tell me, what prompted you to make a film on this, and how did it all started? How did you develop the idea?
It started as big fan of the screen life format, and you know, like I think Searching is like really a masterpiece of the genre in that sense. But also, and then it was the pandemic time, and Avi and me, the writer, we started like playing with this idea of doing this very straight up thriller about, you know, an influencer has a breakup, gets this app which is Control, which can do all these amazing things in your digital past, and then it starts to become a thriller. And I think a lot of the other, it's just that it was so topical when, you know, we're talking about data, we're talking about people listening to you, we're talking about surveillance. There's so much of that happened, and especially in the last 3-4 years, it's been such a thing that I think the script automatically started to go down this kind of interesting pathway, which worked really well for the thriller, but also gave it, you know, I think a little deeper punch in the gut.
Yeah. And you had mentioned about how Ananya is perfect for Control. Tell me, how did you find your Nella in her?
I saw Gerahiyan. I really, really enjoyed her performance in it.
You enjoyed her pain.
Yeah, I was like, is that the right word? I thought she was I thought she was terrific in the film, and then so when it came to sort of like making Control right after I'd finished with Jubilee, there was a phone call, and I'm like, yes, no, read it, and she loved it, and sort of like came on, and I thought because there was something really. She's the right age, she's the right demo, she's the right kind of person you would imagine to be a social media influencer who's so sort of focused on that until things start to kind of go wrong, and then what will happen. So lovely to like throw people into the deep end is always a great, they say make your characters, what make them swim through the mud or something like that. Or something like that. It's always, when you see that, it's always a nice thing you really feel for the character then. So.
Amazing. Ananya, you had mentioned how Udaan is one of your favorite films, yours and Bhavna's, of course. Tell me, when you get a call from someone like Vikramaditya Motwane, what does it mean for an actor like you?
I mean, I think, in shock and in disbelief. I think Rajiv actually connected us, and Rajiv was like, Vikram sir wants to meet you for something, and I was like, okay, he must be like recommending to do someone else's film or like producing a film or something. So I was like, okay, yeah, we'll meet. But I think it was like the quickest yes. I think it wasn't even a discussion, honestly. It was like, this is a film. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's have fun. It was just as easy as that.
Does it also boost your confidence as an actor when a filmmaker like Vikramaditya Motwane puts his trust on you?
Oh, for sure. I think starting from, Shakun, and then with Vikram sir and with Zoya, with, Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, it feels good. But it also feels good because it's happened because of previous work. With Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, I tested for the film and I auditioned for it, and they liked my work. So then I got the part. And with Vikram sir watching Gehraiyan, that always feels better that they believe in me because there's something substantial there. So that gives me more confidence.
Yeah. Now, like every professional, you of course have your misses too. But tell me, does it get frustrating for you that you have to keep on proving yourself? Like everyone keeps talking, Acha, Ananya can do this too, Ananya can do this too. Like, does it get frustrating for you?
No, not really. I feel like because for every actor, every film is a reset button, like every Friday things change, every release can change everything for you, just because your last film was good and you acted well, that's not the end of everything, You have to still keep getting better. So I don't think it's just with me. I think it happens with everyone.
Yeah. And Vikram, the last time I think we spoke at FICCI, where you quite were clear about your displeasure about using AI in the creative world. But tell me, what do you have to think about it? What do you have to say about it today? Because you're of course making a film on the same subject. Like, what's your take on the evolved technology right now?
It really depends on who's in control. And I'm not making a pun because of the movie. I mean that. It really depends on who's in control. Every new technology that's come along, in the 21st century, the 20th century, whatever it is, it's not. There's a very easy thing to say, you can blame the technology. You can't blame the technology. You have to blame the people behind the technology. What is their intent with it? And I think the same thing lands with AI.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it can be used wonderfully for medical, for really helping in intelligence, or whatever. I think there's a lot that can be done there, but on the flip side, if you're only going to use it for pure profit and pure capitalism and stock market boosting, I think then you have to just just look at that very carefully and just understand what, because potentially your doomsday scenario with AI is not, for me, is not Terminator type where Skynet's taken over the entire world. I think it's more about thousands and millions of people losing jobs overnight because of you're just taking AI and saying we're adapting it, or we're adopting it unjudiciously. So it's just like I'm saying, it's just like it's the people who are running it who have to really be answering the questions here.
Right. Ananya, how was it to have an AI co-star with you?
So much fun. It was actually a lot of fun, and I'm glad we did it that way as opposed to like me talking to and I was talking to a part, but it was already converted into an AI format. So it was actually the best case scenario because I was getting to react in real time to an actual AI, and their expressions are so different. There's that little computing time that happens. That mini lag also creates a little real reaction. It's like, okay, now what? And it was just creepy in terms of like feeling like someone's always watching you. They always have something to say, but it was also nice because it's someone who listens. Because I was like, shut up, and then he would have to shut up. He didn't have another choice but to shut up. So that was also fun.
Yeah, but as a person, have you ever faced like the flip side of technology, like evolved technology?
I mean, I don't think I'm that into it. I'm pretty basic when it comes to like technology. I don't know
Okay.
these like too hi-fi things.
Yeah.
I've not really delved into AI to that extent. But I think as a public figure, that's happening, and things get misused and they get taken out of context, and
Absolutely.
there are all these weird edits and
Yeah,
deep
those
fake
deep
things.
fakes,
So
yeah. Yeah. But how addicted are you to your devices and your phones?
it's like part of my body at this point. Yeah.
And then what was it like first day on set? On like, what does it feel to like to be on a Motwane set?
Very different. I think every actor would say that every set of his is different. Like if I had to
Yeah.
sit and talk to Rajkumar Rao about how Trapped was, he would tell me a different experience
True.
only. And I think for Vikram sir, he wants to create that environment. He wants to,
Yeah.
create a new environment with every film that he goes on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just fun. It was a challenge, and it was immersive and personal and intense. Yeah.
And how was it for you, Vikram? Like, this is such a different genre for you also to experiment on. Tell me about your experience.
See, I'm a geek, so there's like
Oh.
I'm very nerdy when it comes to these things. So the whole when you're saying okay, screen life film, so now how do so I think the challenge of setting it up, saying okay, there's a laptop and she's going to be talking. There's the app on the laptop, so we record that, but we have to also record her footage clean, and that one's clean, and that one's going to come through AI. So I think that those challenges for me, and then make sure the sound syncs is where I'm thriving in that kind of stuff. Yeah, put me in those kind of situations every single day of my life. I'm very happy. I'm very happy doing those things, and editing the film where you're like, oh my god, 10 layers of video and kya kare, and zoom in and zoom out. And,
Right.
that's my world, and I love that world. So yeah, it's just, I'm
And
thrilled.
was it always a decision to go digital with this film, or you wanted to maybe try out theaters too?
No, we made the film with no kind of like we just said let's just produce it and see what kind of happens.
Yeah.
And I think Netflix is the perfect place for the film. I think the fact that you're going day and date global all around the world to an audience that is also kind of like very tuned into tech, very tuned into Gen Z narratives. So I think it's the perfect kind of like way to get this film out.
And then you have had the best experience on digital, like all your projects have done wonderfully well. What do you have to say about it? Because of course you started with theaters. How do you look at this shift, this change?
I mean, I'm hoping to still be in theaters also. This is just how it's so happened that these three have lined up back to back. But before that, I had Dreamgirl, and now after this, I have a theatrical release. But it feels good because it's just amazing to see the instant reach. When Kho Gaya Hum Kahan had released, I was in London on the day of the release, and so many people came up to me and they were like, oh, we've already watched the film. And that doesn't happen that often with theatrical. Sometimes it's just limited to India in that way. So I've really felt the instant connection to a much larger worldwide audience with the OTT release, and it feels like you can be a lot riskier. It doesn't feel like this judgment day and everything is focused on one day. I still reap the benefits of Kho Gaye Hum Kahan. Even today, people would have watched that film yesterday and come and spoken to me about it today. So it feels like a much more long-term, fulfilling experience. Yeah.
The box office pressure is also off, so you can just enjoy.
But it's another kind of pressure. I feel like also like there's the pressure of wanting people to watch it and not get lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
There's that as well.
No, yeah, there's still that pressure. Initially in the early days it was amazing of streaming, because like you're like your success is judged literally by the fact of like how many calls you get. You know what I mean? It came down to that. It wasn't a numbers game. I think here also it's becoming a little bit of a numbers game.
Numbers.
They're putting numbers. It is becoming a bit of a numbers game. So you're like, chalo, you're back in the same zone. But that's fine. I guess that's part and parcel of this. Yeah, I'm like, this is the third part of Ananya's trilogy.
Social media
trilogy.
versus Ananya trilogy.
And going by the way the first two have done, I'm like,
Hoping. Yeah.
But I like the opening line in the trailer says, control your happiness. I think social media has today become something that people just use it for validation also, because there's so many good comments also coming in. Has there been ever in your life ever been a phase where you've just posted a picture just so that people just comment good things about you and you feel happy about it?
I used to feel happy first if I read something, but now I think I'm not too swayed by the good or the bad. I think I've reached a point where I'm unaffected by both. I'd rather have someone compliment me in person or about something substantial like my work. I don't think like small things like that make me happy anymore.
Yeah, but is validation important for you?
Yeah, in certain ways, not about appearance and things like that. I think when people talk about my personality, I feel happier. Like if someone calls me smart or funny, I get really happy. And then about my work as well.
Absolutely. But who controls your happiness?
I think actually right now I control my own happiness for a change. It's going not too well, but I am controlling it. Yeah.
And what about other emotions? Like as a young girl out there, do you have it in you to kind of keep everything in control, like especially when it comes to love or maybe parents, their
Yeah.
effect on you? Like,
Yeah.
how do you kind of deal with all of that?
I deal with it like everyone deals with it, and I try to process and allow my emotions to come out as much as possible. I don't keep too much in. If I'm upset, it shows on my face immediately. I'm just lucky that I have a job where I get to switch off for 12 hours and not have to think about anything else. So yeah, I've used my work as escape a lot of times because I literally cannot deal with anything else but my character's problems at that time. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. But in love, how are you as a person?
I'm evolving. I'm changing a lot. The more I'm getting to know myself, the more I'm also at peace with myself. I think that's having a direct
Right.
impact on my love as well. So I think I'm happy. I love being in love. I'm
Yeah.
a happy lover.
And what about your career choices? Is it completely solely yours, or you also think about what maybe people around you, your team, or maybe your parents, what are they thinking?
No, I'm very lucky to be surrounded by, an amazing team, and even my parents, because my father is an actor, so he has a lot of insight, even though he doesn't really say anything. He should be, but yeah, he doesn't give much advice. But I think I'm very instinct based. I can't be convinced to do something, and I feel like if someone's convincing you, then there's a problem. For
Right.
me, it's always my first reaction to something. That's what I go by. And whenever I've, doubted my first reaction, it's always not done well. So I would go by instinct. Even if
Yeah.
it doesn't turn out well, it's still on me. I don't want to blame someone else for my
Absolutely.
decisions.
Yeah. As a filmmaker, Vikram, like how important it is to trust your instinct when it comes to
Yeah,
maybe
number
casting?
number
Yeah.
one, number
Yeah.
one is you have to trust your instinct. Yes, you need to listen to people, make sure you have the right advisors around you. But your instinct is what's going to drive you. If you're going to be working on somebody else's instinct,
Right.
or second guessing along the way, then that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And tell me, of course, we are talking about online safety here, but when it comes to safety in real life, in light of the HEMA committee report, Vikram, as a filmmaker, because you, of course, deal with actors of all age, there is a huge team around you. Like, what are your endeavors to assure that women on your set feel safe?
So first of all, I do employ a lot of women on the set, especially in control. My producer, my first AD, my production designer, my costume designer, all women. And this has been a process in my films for quite a while. My mom's actually been my producer for many years, and Arya now is the producer. So one is just to be conscious of the fact that you have an equal number of, if not more, women on the set. So there's a sense of safety around generally. And before every project that we do, we always start. We have there's a meeting that happens with everybody where we have someone come in and talk specifically about how it's important safety on set. If you feel a certain sort of way, talk to these people. If you feel that kind of stuff, talk to people. So it's a very open so there is no. So we've been, sort of like taking measures like this. Actually, Netflix is the one who started these kind of like these meetings that they would have, where they would have someone come on, and then we've said we liked it so much that we said we have to, and just to remind people. I mean, I've been through I think by now 6 of these meetings, but just to remind people that these are your rules, these are your ground rules on set. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't talk like this to somebody, you can't say these kind of things. And if someone talks to you like this, then please come and talk to A, B, C, D, E people, and always so.
Right. But tell me, as someone from part of the industry, like what do you make out of a report like this? Do you think it can lead to something, or it will be just a phase that will just get drowned?
It's the same thing with Me Too, in the sense that there is, we always feel that, nothing really happened. There is that. So yes, the pessimistic version of it is the fact that kuch nahi hoga and it'll all end up being the same. I think the optimistic version is that there is change, in the sense that once people are aware of something, that they cannot get away with a certain kind of behavior, automatically I feel that behavior starts to get curtailed. And I think yes, while there is a sense of in the Me Too stuff that nothing really happened, I do think that you've seen the fact that there's a lot more. The behavior patterns in Bombay, at least, have changed when it comes to certain people in power.
Right.
That, at least from where I sit, I'm not sure.
Nana, you may be in a place of privilege where maybe people wouldn't dare to do something like that or threaten you about things like this. But how scary it is as a young woman when you hear of things like that, and what do you think as a young woman out there with a voice? What can you do to build a community?
I think it's horrifying and heartbreaking, and I don't agree that, people in position are exempted. I think any young woman or any woman in our country, doesn't matter what age they are, everyone has had an experience like this, no matter how small or big. And sometimes we let things go and we don't even understand ourselves that this was inappropriate or this was wrong. And the moment you talk about it or you talk to someone else is when you realize that it was wrong. So I think as a young actor, with my choices when it comes to the movies that I make, with the messaging that I'm trying to send out, is something that I'm a lot more aware of than I was before, how small things can impact people out there. I think speaking about it also, it may seem like it's not enough, but at least it's something, and you're starting somewhere and you're talking about something. And but I hope that there can be actionable change. I think that's the only way that, something will change in our country. So yeah, I'm doing my best, around me to create a safe environment with the women, and myself being an example. If something like that is happening around me or to me, I will speak up about it and I will be vocal about it. I won't shut up about it. And yeah, I think that's the best that I'm trying to do right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. Also, Nana, like as actors, we sometimes feel that, do you think you have enough power to maybe say that maybe I don't want to wear this costume or I don't want this dance move? Do you feel that you are at a place right now that you can do that?
Yeah, I feel like you can always say no, and that may lead to some, repercussions. But whatever it is, I think your safety and where you see yourself and your respect is above everything else. We're not machines or robots. So if you are in a position where you can say no, and it's taken me some time to get here, but now that I'm here, by me saying no, if that can kind of encourage others to say no, or if I'm kind of setting the precedent for other people, then I will try to do it.
Absolutely. And because you are followed so much online by young girls, anything that you want to tell them to kind of have a safety net for them or just build a safety net, what would you tell them?
Yeah, as you said, don't be afraid to say no. It can be very scary. My mom had to buy me a book about how to say no because I was so scared to say no to things, and now I'm just like no for everything. But yeah, don't be afraid to say no, and there will always be someone who will listen to you. So just talk to the people around you. Yeah.